That power, I stand up and it's good morning and welcome to the November 29th session. Before we start, we always open with a prayer, and thank you, Pastor Rex, for coming again.
We appreciate coming. God, thank you for the honor. Let's pray together. We thank you, Lord, for the freedom to be able to meet together and discuss the needs of Clermont County and the municipalities which are within Clermont County, and the many advantages which you have given to all of us. Lord, we thank you for those who have a willing heart to assume the responsibility before you, to lead and to direct the affairs and the business of Clermont County, and to serve in a sacred public trust as commissioners. Lord, bless them with peace in their lives, both public and private. And Lord, we ask that the long historical ties and sacred heritage which Clermont County shares with the churches within the county will be maintained and respected and protected, and will foster a growing awareness in the hearts and minds of each and all citizens of their needs for you and your abiding presence in their lives, both public and private. Lord, we thank you for our military, their commitment, loyalty, integrity. Be with all the families who will be separated during the Christmas season because of military responsibilities. Protect our law enforcement for their willingness to serve the public, keeping us safe and secure. And we come against any aspect of any terrorist activity in Clermont County. And bless all the EMTs and the firefighters with your wisdom, your compassion, and your ability to ascertain every run. And thank you, Father, for such a great county and all its accomplishments for the people of Clermont County. Continue to bless us as we continue to honor you and listen to your leading. Amen.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Portman, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Yes. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Today we have a proclamation to designate December 7th as Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day in Clermont County. And with me to accept this is Tom Cooper from the Veterans Administration. Tom, if you'll come up to the podium with me. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, get right up here. Come on over.
Oh, okay.
Because they'll want to get you in this
okay.
picture. So this proclamation reads, Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day in Clermont County. Whereas on December 7th, 1941, fighters and bombers appeared above the skies of southern Wahoo. I can't read my own. And without warning, commenced to attack the United States Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor. Caught by surprise, the brave individuals stationed there, which included a number of persons from Clermont County, rushed into action to defend their ships, planes, and comrades, base, and ultimately their nation. The devastating aerial assault lasted 2 hours, killing 2,400 Americans and injuring many others. And whereas today we remember with grateful hearts those who fought and those who died on that terrible Sunday morning. Their courageous sacrifices saved lives, and the stories of their unparalleled heroism galvanized our nation. And whereas, as Americans who enjoy the blessings of living in a free nation today, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to the brave men and women who defended our nation on that day in 1941. We are grateful for all who have answered duty's call in defense of our nation. Further, December 7th, 2023 shall be declared Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day in Clermont County, Ohio, in conjunction with the declaration issued by Governor DeWine. All flags on all government buildings in Clermont County shall be flown at half-staff from sunrise to sunset, December 7th, 2023. And it is signed by the three commissioners, myself, Bonnie Batchelor, Commissioner Claire Corcoran, and Commissioner David Painter. And it is an honor that you came today to accept this. And I understand that there is a service at the Milford American Legion,
Yes, Sunday at 2:00. This Sunday at 2:00.
and that's on Victor Steer Drive in
Yes,
Milford,
ma'am.
so that
ma'am.
everybody can go and participate in this.
Yep. Sunday at 2. We welcome everybody.
And I understand you're a retired county deputy.
I am.
I did not know that. Bless you
Yes.
for all your services. Thank
After-
you. So I can tell you this man over here likes to take pictures. So we're going to
That's
go
right.
up here, and if the other commissioners will come down. we'll-
Ironically, I have an uncle that was on USS Tennessee that day.
Really. Anything else you would like to tell
No,
the
that's
public?
about it. Thank you very much for proclamation. I hope to see a good turnout in Milford.
I do too.
We
Thank you.
can't let this day fade away.
We can't
No.
forget. We cannot. Well, let's go up here and we'll
Okay,
have a
go ahead.
picture taken. Thank you. Come on up.
And if you don't smile, you just make looking like you smile. And if I blink, you keep looking like that.
Ready?
Yeah. Three. No. He does it how you do it. Thank you, John.
Commissioner Batchelor, at this time, I would like to see if we could move up item 24, if that would be fine with the board.
We want to approve minutes or anything first or not?
Actually, we could approve the minutes.
Approve minutes first or not?
No.
Yeah. 2 minutes first.
Okay.
Okay. I did forget to do item B, which is approval of the regular session minutes of November 20th. Can I have a motion to approve those, please?
So moved.
I will second. Roll call, Gail?
Commissioner Painter, Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Now,
Now, would you like to move up item 24?
is that okay with my board members?
It is.
Absolutely. Okay, Gail?
Okay. This item is an item for the Board of County Commissioners. It's the disposition of the amended annexation of 175.145 acres from Batavia Township to the Village of Batavia, Clermont County, Ohio, for and on behalf of the owners in compliance with Section 70902 of the Ohio Revised Code. I actually do have a little blurb here about what happened. And on Wednesday, September 6, 2023, a petition for annexation of 175.7701 acres from Batavia Township to the Village of Batavia, Clermont County, Ohio, was filed in the office of the Board of County Commissioners by Michael Manier, attorney at law. He was the attorney and agent for Paul Birding, who is the agent for the petitioners, MLO Investments, BRMI Properties, LLC, and the Crossing Church. On Friday, September 15, 2023, an amended petition for annexation was filed by attorney Michael Manier, again as attorney and agent for Paul Birding, as the agent for the petitioners, who are the owners. The petition amended the acreage from 175.7701 acres to 175.145 acres, and also provided us with a revised map. The board acknowledged the original petition in regular session on September 13th, and a public hearing was set for November 8th at 11:15 a.m. at the Board of County Commissioners. The board acknowledged the amended petition in regular session on September 21st, 2023, and the public hearing set for November 8th, 2023 at 11:15 at the Board of County Commissioners remained the same. Today is November 29th, 2023, and we are within the 30 days for the disposition of this annexation.
So at this time, do we want to have deliberation, or we want to talk about this? How does the board want to proceed?
It's out on the table. I would propose in this particular annexation that the general territory will not be serviced, and that annexing this property into the village of Batavia would result in it being a detriment to the unincorporated areas that surround within 1/2 mile of the annexation. So therefore, I would recommend and or propose that we prepare a resolution denying the annexation.
Commissioner Corcoran?
After reviewing the documentations and all the layouts, actually, in relationship not only to the airport, but to the impact that I find it would have on fire protection, water, sewer, police, et cetera, which also impacts Batavia Township, I feel there is a factual determination that the general good would not be served if this was allowed to be annexed at this time with this territory. I believe that would not be in the general good of the surrounding territory, plus the airport. Thank you.
And I have to agree with both my county commissioners. I don't see a 15-year abatement on that property. The taxing that's going to put on the services, the fire EMS services, they're going to have to cover that area, but they're not going to get any revenue to offset the cost of that. To me, it's not fair to the surrounding people that are paying their taxes. So I have to agree with Commissioner Painter, Commissioner Corcoran. I would say we should deny it.
So I would think at the break, we could have a resolution prepared
Resolution
that we
for
could
rejecting
act
it.
on when we come back from
Reject.
executive session.
And we also have December 4th is our next session.
Yes, it is. Monday, December 4th.
That is within the 30 days.
Yes, it is.
That's-
December 6th is the last day, and we are not here that day. So Monday's
the
it.
other- That would be
So
the
it'll be
other option.
December 4th,
If
correct?
the board would like us to prepare that resolution, I'll see if we
Yes.
can get that prepared for today.
I would again recommend we prepare it today and act on it after executive session
we can
instead
do
of
that.
waiting.
Mr.
Fine.
Shrive,
You get
is that possible?
I will try, but I don't believe it will.
So when can you have it ready?
We can have it ready by next week. We can try to get it done for today, but.
Monday's the only day we have, Monday, December 4th.
I'd rather it be done today. Let's do it today, even if we have to do it by verbal resolution from the desk.
That's fine.
Okay.
So do we want to do a motion on that, or we just want to go ahead and move on?
Well,
Well,
you would act
We
when
would,
the resolution is.
when the resolution's
The
done.
resolution.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
Moving on. Item D.
What-
Oh, wait.
Since there might be a lot of people here for that particular resolution, we'd love for you to stay. But if you have something else to do, we understand. We will we'll act on that resolution, and the resolution will be to deny the annexation. So if you'd like to stay, we'd love to have you. But
It's our Christmas.
okay, see ya.
Thank you. Okay, we ready then?
You bet.
Moving on, item D is a presentation by Emily Akers, Assistant Budget Director. You can't have that. Office of Management and Budget. Can you give us an update on the appropriations?
Yes. So I was here 2 weeks ago with the original draft appropriation, and we just have an update. There actually was a pretty big change. The auditor's office brought the official valuation to us since that original presentation, and the valuation came in 29% higher than what we had originally put in the draft from the auditor. So our new county valuation is at $6.874 billion, which is up from just under $5.3 billion. Anything in here that you see red is revised numbers. And I will tell you the majority of everything is revised due to the new valuation. So the property taxes, of course, were impacted. And we originally had $10.9 million in there. Hold on, W, go back. Thank you. We originally had a $10.9 million estimate. So we have increased this about $1.8 million. And as well, if you look at the intergovernmental, the increase on that is the homestead rollback. So that's all property tax related. So our total revenue, operating revenue, has now increased just over $2 million. This is a slide, we showed it to you last time. The difference now is instead of property tax, before the percentage of the pie, it was 13.3%. Now it's 15.2%. So just shifted the allocation of the general fund revenue around a bit, decreasing sales tax from 48.6 to 47.4%. So if we take a look at the revised draft expenses, nothing has been added as an additional request that we reviewed last time. No salary actions have still been included until we hear feedback. However, what did change was there is a mandated 0.1 millage on, it's the children with medical and handicap, which increased with the valuation. So that went up $157,000. So the operating expenses have increased, just that $150,000. This slide is just the pie again of where the general fund expenses go. Just to recap, the criminal justice and judicial is 65.4% together. And when we throw in the public safety element of that, 72.8% of our general fund dollars are going out to the safety of the county. So now I have a updated general fund cash balance. Of course, the revenue and expenses changed, as I had just mentioned, bring our end of year 2024 fund balance that is unrestricted down. It's actually higher now, but it's $9.04 million, so it's up to $1.82 million, which is the revenue, increased revenue minus the expenses. This excludes the salary actions and the other requests, as I said, and it does not include the $5.3 million that we have in the budget stabilization fund. So I want to touch base a little on the capital fund. We went over this last time, but it still needs some review. Nothing has changed on this other than the revenue we'll see on the next page. We still are planning the completion of juvenile expansion. The Philliger campus is in the plans. Vehicle, there's the roof repairs, HVACs, everything. There are still a lot of facility needs out there that have for considerations, but it's pending available funds and the facilities master plan. So we're holding on adding anything until we get further information. This is where the capital fund balance is shown. So we did update the estimated revenues because we get $1 million from property valuation. So that increased nearly $1 million. But so unobligated cash at the end of next year is $2.9 million. Again, this excludes any large facilities, buildings, improvements. So there is going to be a need. We had increased the capital fund over the past years. We transferred $11.5 million this year. We transferred $10 million last year from the general fund, as that had purposely, the general fund balance had been grown for that. Now we're going to be at a point where decisions will need to be made to fund these between general fund, possibly ARPA, debt, different things. So now just a summary of the entire draft appropriation. The general government just had a slight decrease. We had a couple corrections after we gave the first presentations. And then we had the ARPA appropriation decrease just due to current expenses, and a large project was encumbered. So we reduced next year's encumbrance. So this slide is showing by our fund type, the change in the fund balance. Again, everything in red had changes. So the general operating and the capital fund, those changes were all impacted because of the valuation change. Other little things, the special revenue, the home funds was not originally included in the first roll-up, so that was the only change there. And then the internal service funds, there was a slight change due to correction on TTD's fund. When we look at this, though, the most important thing to focus on today is the general fund, the operating part. So right now, we have a $3.4 million excess revenues over expenses. So that's the number to keep in mind when we look at the additional requests, which is what we're getting to now. So these are all the requests and salary actions that are not included in the draft appropriation until we receive further feedback from you. I'm going to go through each of these, and then anything that we get feedback from, we will add it. In 2 weeks, we're coming back in front of you to give a final update and make any changes, to that point, and then hopefully adopt on, I think it's the 13th. So just going through the list, which you've all seen and we've discussed, but we have the clerk of the municipal court is requesting the 4 positions to have 7 days operation, as well as some additional overtime and additional salary increases on top of the board's salary action. The auditor is requesting a procurement clerk. We have the permit specialist stipend program that isn't even in place with the state yet to certify some of the permit specialists to be able to look at the plans before the plan examiners do. The animal control program, right now we are funding that at 2023's level, which is $474,000 from general fund. It is also funded by the sale of the dog tags and penalties and some court fees and things. How we have the dog and kennel fund in the draft right now, they would need another $100,000 from the general fund in order to be their staffing currently fully staffed, as well as the estimated operation cost to run the shelter. On top of the $100,000, they're requesting some 5 additional positions that would require about $225,000 of additional funding from the general fund. So I have that broken out in 2 categories to see if any more funding wants to be added.
Emily, why don't you talk about the 100,000 a little bit more? That is a amount of money that is needed to operate the shelter in 2024 at our current levels, correct?
Yes. So Greg, myself, we met with the dog warden, went over, really combed through all the expenses. It would take their current staffing that they are approved at, and having it, at a full year. And then so really where the extra 100,000 in is, as we're getting a handle on how much it costs to run the shelter, that 100,000 is mostly for operating expenses. And I'd say the majority of it is vet and the animal medical supplies. And it also depends on the number of dogs in the shelter. And I think, so that 100,000 pretty much is trying to be cost conservative, but it's needed to run the shelter.
And the additional 5 staffers was how much?
About 225,000. And I do have, it was, unless any of this has changed, Greg, on what, okay. So the staffing, it was an additional deputy dog warden, 2 full-time kennel techs, which actually we asked Tim to prioritize, and he said those were the priority, weren't they? The kennel techs above anything.
Yeah, but as we go through this, so just some stats, and Jess gave me some details. They've had 750 calls for services so far this year. They've had over 125 adoptions, and they've run 1,000 dogs through that shelter. So, and that varies year to year. I think one of the other issues is they've tried to be open 6 days a week, and I think that's getting to be too much. And that with the extra staff, it's to have that 6-7 day operation, which they're there anyways. So we're looking at potentially only opening 5 days, the rest by appointment. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 1 night a week, late. So at this point, it's hard to say, let's add staff until we can, as we kind of figure out how to operate this shelter. So, I think it's one of those things that we wait and see how the year goes instead of just adding carte blanche to staff would be my recommendation at this point.
And if I could just add, I talked to Tim the other day. Met him in the hallway. I asked him, how many doggies do we have up there? I was shocked that he said it was around 50, low 50s now. And I think that is because of the operations, how it's being ran right now.
It is.
That's why we're down that low on dogs, and that's what we want. So
We've got a good volunteer network. We've got a great foster network. I mean, I think right now in our care, there's over 100 dogs. A lot of them are fostered out. And it varies on a daily basis. I mean, so give you a definitive answer of how to staff the shelter, because it's always in flux. I think with some operational changes and some hour changes, your current staffing may work. The only thing I might add that you may want to add is more upfront support. You have a part-time receptionist and a full-time receptionist. Potentially make that 2 full-time receptionists. Just surely the number of calls that come in and out of that place on a daily basis sometimes overwhelms the staff. We're moving to an automated attendant just to kind of help filter people. But I think that's the one thing they do need is more just upfront support. Because a lot of times the kennel techs will come up to help a customer when taking them away from their kennel duties.
One of the things we've always talked about as far as the shelter goes is, they have the ability to gain monies from outside sources due to donations and other things. When we talk about this budget, how much offset is there from donations that are gained by that shelter? I know there have been some pretty hefty donations made.
I think it's been over 100,000 this last year.
So the problem, and they're great, donations are great, but we cannot rely on them unless somebody wanted to do a reoccurring, I don't know if they can do that. So when we plan for the general fund contribution, we do put a small number in donations, I think is planned, but it's not money. The dog tag sales, we take the trends and use that, but we just can't take donations as,
because it's an unknown.
it's an unknown, right?
No, my only question is, what does that account
Oh.
for? That's all. That's all I was
It's upward
asking.
of 100,000 this
Yeah.
year. There was a large restricted donation for specific,
Some of them are restricted, so it's for a specific purpose.
Capital or other
yeah,
needs.
usually it's capital needs. It's not the operating. So really the funding that the general fund needs to put in is operating. There are some unrestricted donations, but the large chunk of it, probably at least 70,000, has been for somebody wants to, improve the outdoor kennels or.
Got it.
And he's working with some local vets to get deals on spays and neuters. Those are upwards of $300. We've got that cost down under 100. So they're trying different partnerships. Problem is a vet will not sign a contract with us.
Understood.
It's just, so we're trying to find the best bang for the buck on the dogs. And the dogs,
Right.
for example, this week alone, they had 9 just show up one day. And you'll go a week with nothing, and then you've got 10 in a heartbeat. So that's the hard part with trying to regulate all this. But you can't overstaff, because then all of a sudden then we have people standing around. But if you understaff and things get busy, so I think it's an issue of the kennel just kind of trying to find its way. As Tim makes changes, we're working on some outdoor kennels, we're working on some more space. So there's a lot of changes operationally that are going to happen. But I don't want to commit the funds until we know that they're needed. That's my issue with it.
But if I could just say, from 3 years ago when I came on this board, the shape that kennel was in to what it is now,
Oh, it's in
the
great
general public has no idea. The first day I went up there, I was just, you didn't want to be in there from the smell and the filth that was there. How many hundreds of mice did they have to kill?
shape. Quite a few. It's quite a
I
few.
mean, it was horrible. And now it's just totally a different kennel. So, thanks.
Okay. Good on the animal shelter?
Good on the
trail?
kennel.
Okay. Juvenile court and detention probation, they were requesting just some increased rates and a couple increased hours on a seasonal employee. The prosecutor is requesting an additional investigator and then another civil attorney. The sheriff, road patrol is asking for additional overtime, which typically we use budget transfers when there's bargaining salaries are available and things like that to cover that. Adult detention, the jail is requesting another maintenance position. They currently have 3 staff. They'd like to have a 4th. The school resource officers, That's where we switched the school resource officers were used to be 100% covered by the schools, and now they're 50% by the schools and 50% by the contracts fund. We are asking, I'm sorry, the contracts fund. And so our contribution is already 50% into the contracts fund. We are requesting that the contracts funds covers that additional 50% this year as they did in 2023. It has a balance availability to do that. There were various salary actions pulled from the draft, and most of that was the salary actions that they were requesting by the board. We pull all those out. Next page, Deb. So speaking of salary actions, for non-bargaining staff, it's approximately $305,000 per 1%. So, if you round it to 300,000, you're looking at 1.5 million for a 5%. 600,000 would be a 2% things. The sheriff's bargaining, there's, I think, 3 bargaining contracts that are up at the end of this year and the beginning of next year. So none of that is included in the draft either. So every 1% for the sheriff's bargaining is $142,000. There is built-in increases already in here that are in the current contracts. The Board of Elections is requesting additional expenses. I think it was about $79,000. Their approved funding is at their historical presidential election amounts. I know this past election cost more than anticipated, though, so there is that on the line. The sheriff's fleet is asking for additional fuel and maintenance. They should be getting in about 16 road patrol vehicles between the 23 order and 24 order. The 23 order is just getting ready to come in. It's taken a while to be built, but the 24 will come sooner. We're hoping with the new vehicles, it'll help keep the maintenance costs down, as long as they don't hit deer or anything, or poles. And the last thing on here, which we didn't, is just the capital project support. That is something that continues to need to be considered for future. It doesn't have to be decided on today, of course, but we want to keep that up in the forefront. And that is all I have. So anybody has any thoughts? So when I come back in a couple weeks, I will present the draft with any changes made to it before we adopt.
Nothing further today.
One of the things that may need to be considered today would be the $100,000 for the animal shelter, just because it's, as Emily indicated, that $100,000 is what we're spending currently in order to roll that over into 2024. So if the board wants to think about that, as well as any salary actions that the board is considering for next year.
If we do not increase the general fund contribution to the animal shelter, we will have to go back and revise their appropriation as well to reduce it.
Right.
Do we want to take action on that?
We want to start with the animal shelter first or salary?
Yeah, just to recommend, if there's a recommendation to the board, whether or not to include that additional, and then Emily can make that addition for in 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you make the motion?
I guess I did. I
Second.
made the motion.
Roll call.
Commissioner Batchelor, or Commissioner
Whoever.
Cork. Yeah, I know. Commissioner Corcoran, I'm sorry, you confused me on that one. Y'all look alike after a while, except you. Commissioner Painter. Commissioner Batchelor. Okay.
So to be
Oh.
clear, that was to include the $100,000. Is that what? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Lord.
You need a motion for a
Any other-
recommendation,
Any other discussion on?
on raise amount. I'd like to make can I do that now?
Sure.
For
Yes,
bachelor.
whoever I am, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to make a recommendation for a 5% increase
And just to clarify that, in past years, we separated that as
from,
2% across the board, 3% merit. I don't know if the board wants to
Yes.
change that percentage or you want to keep it the same.
that would be correct. Keep it the same.
Keep it.
Would
as
you rather
we did.
go 3 across the board, 2% merit, or just the opposite?
No, I want to keep it the way it was.
That was 3% merit and 2% across the board.
You made that motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran.
I'm her. Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor. Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
You have just got me all
It's our fault.
on this one.
Or any other recommendations by the board today?
Anything on capital, of holding money for capital? Do we need to bring that up today or wait till we go through everything?
Can we wait till?
Well, typically, like in the past couple of years, we've put about $24 million into capital from the general fund. So it would be rather whether the board wants to include any money from the general fund to supplement the capital fund. As we said, we have $3.4 million. If the increases take up about 1.5 million of that, you have about $1.8 million
Yeah.
for consideration. So
There's truly right now a 9 million unrestricted balance in the general fund, which includes that 3.4 million.
right. So the board can wait if they would like to
Okay.
consider that capital contribution.
All right.
If they would
Yeah.
like.
So the capital is not necessarily needed in 24. We have the cash for 24. It's for once the facility master's plan comes back and some large buildings get added, that's when we will need to have a need. So the thought is, it doesn't even need a motion, but the thought to grow the general fund or things like that.
Yeah. So that doesn't have to be decided right away. But
So can we
Something to
wait
think
and do
about.
it all at one?
Since we're coming up on an election, how urgent is the Board of Elections as far as the 79,000 that they're looking for?
I can't speak on the expertise of that, but when we looked back at the presidential election years is how we look and, look at, they requested in overtime or in their poll worker pay. Everything was very much in line with what the trends do on presidential election years. There was 79,000 over, I think there are additional expenses, what the trends were. So, which truly the county, they would have to, we would give a supplemental as well if they needed more funds when it came down to it.
I'd make a motion to fund the 79,000 to the Board of Elections. We know that's a legitimate expense.
We know they're
already.
going to need it.
They are.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Anything else?
any other recommendations at this time?
Thank you.
I'll be back in
Thanks,
2 weeks.
Emily.
You're welcome.
Was that the driver over there?
Yes, Debbie was my driver today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to item E is public participation. No? Moving on to item F, consent agenda. Board, you've had this in time to review. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. You're having a time with these names, aren't you?
Oh, goodness, it's a day.
Okay. Moving on to item G, non-consent agenda. Item 10, it is the recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution number 170-23, resolving to approve payment to vendors in the total amount $1,658,150.26 as set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated November 29, 2023. BCC directed prepaid invoice reports and/or the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on November 27, 2023, further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for same pursuant to Section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. We have the county auditor in attendance today. Thank you, Linda, for coming up. Item 11. Look who we have with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Patiently waiting.
Clermont County Sheriff acknowledge, authorize, and execute the Extradition Transport Reimbursement Fund 2023 grant program application and subgrant award agreement awarded by the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Services for funding of the Clermont County Sheriff's Office Extradition Project 23-1106-001. Recommendation to acknowledge the filing by the Clermont County Sheriff as designated agency for grant application or grant administration of the Extradition Transport Reimbursement Fund 2023 grant program application and subgrant award agreement for subgrant number 2023-EX-OOS-1147. Awarded by the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Services, 1970 West Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43218-2632. For funding of the project entitled Clermont County Sheriff's Office Extradition in the amount of $2,825, with no local match required for the period of 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024. And further authorized Bonnie Batchelier, President, Board of Clermont County Commissioners, to execute the grant agreement in compliance with all terms and conditions.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Item number 12. Hi, Jesse.
Good morning. Good morning. Item number 12 is a recommendation to authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute the service agreement between the Board of County Commissioners and Target Solutions, LLC, DBA Vector Solutions out of Tampa, Florida, for scheduling software for the term of 1 year, effective upon execution and in compliance with the terms and conditions and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order.
Thank you. We've had the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Hi, Pam.
Good morning.
Morning.
Pam Havercost, Clermont County Emergency Management Agency Director. Item number 13 is a recommendation to acknowledge the project closure of FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, FEMA-DR-4507-R-OH, and to acknowledge the deobligation of the remaining funds from the state-local grant agreement between the State of Ohio Department of Public Safety and Ohio Emergency Management Agency and Clermont County Emergency Management Agency in the amount of $243,630 and the required local match of $27,070 intended for the express purpose to acquire and demolish 653 Old US 52 New Richmond, Ohio 45157 to be used only for purposes compatible with open space, recreational, or wetlands management practices in accordance with the deed restrictions in perpetuity. So we did the appraisal and we submitted an offer letter to the property owner. And due to market forces, that property owner has declined our offer just because a lot of different reasons. But the reality is he couldn't find another property to purchase in Clermont County, which he wants to stay in Clermont County. So it just did not become feasible for him to accept our offer. So at this point, because that grant is solely for that purpose, to buy that particular property, we have to return the funds. So we did receive our reimbursement from the state of Ohio and FEMA for our appraisal costs. And it was a 90-10 split, and our EMA budget consumed the 10% contribution for the appraisal costs. So all of the funds that were allocated through CDBG will go back to CDBG to be used for other purposes.
Thank you, Pam. Board, we've had the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Connie.
Item number 14 is the recommendation to execute an agreement for recruiting services between the Clermont County Board of Commissioners for and on behalf of the Clermont County Department of Job and Family Services and Sherry Kelch for the provision of moving children from foster care into permanent adoptive homes in concert with the grant agreement between the County of Clermont and the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption relative to the county's participation in Wendy's Wonderful Kids program, ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on May 31st of 2023 in the amount of $88,300 effective October 30th, 2023 through June 30th of 24 in compliance with the terms and conditions and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 14. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for being here, Connie.
Morning, Board.
Good morning.
Item 15 is a recommendation to execute an agreement between the county and Union Township Board of Trustees. This is relative to the Baldwin Road landslide project in Union Township, and also to authorize the county engineer to pursue funding from OPWC, Ohio Public Works Commission, for the total project cost of $349,500. The request to Ohio Public Works would be for 79% of that, which is $276,105, and the Union Township would provide the remaining local match.
Thank you, Suki. Board, we've had the reading of item number 15. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
Suki.
you. Have a good day. You too.
Now it's the Lyle Bloom Show.
Got a few items here. Item 16 is a recommendation to accept the following grant of water and sewer easements with rights of reentry for repair and replacement to be granted and conveyed to Clermont County by the grantors as outlined below for utility purposes for property located along Paxton Guinea Road in Miami Township. The grantors are Stephen and Marjorie Schnicke, Robert and Lisa Crable, and Jeffrey and Megan Graff.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 16. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Item 17.
Item 17 is a recommendation to accept the following grant of permanent water easement with rights of reentry for repair and replacement that will be granted and conveyed to Clermont County by the grantor as outlined below for utility purposes. And this is for project number 6401-60221 for the Harold Road Water Main Extension Project located in Batavia Township, and to authorize the county auditor to remit payment as compensation for the permanent easement and right-of-way granted. And the grantor is Albert and Teresa Short, and this makes one of the 6 easements that we'll need for the project.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 17. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Item 18 is a recommendation to execute a contract for professional services between the Board of County Commissioners and McGill Smith Puncheon Incorporated out of Cincinnati, Ohio for project number 6401-60234 for design services for the Chapel Road Water Main Replacement Project located in Batavia Township for the proposal dated November 1st, 2023, and a total amount not to exceed $74,800 with said services to be completed within 211 consecutive calendar days upon issuance of a written notice to proceed from the Water Resources Department, exclusive of county review time and contingent upon the release of the purchase order. And this project will involve designing about 4,820 feet of new 12-inch water main to replace the existing 6-inch and 8-inch water mains that were installed in 1954.
Okay, Board, we've had the reading of item number 18. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. 19.
Item 19 is a recommendation to execute a contract for professional services between the Board of County Commissioners and Hazen and Sawyer out of Cincinnati, Ohio for project number 6401-60232 for design services for the Branch Hill Miamiville Road Water Main Replacement Project. And this will go from Booster 1 to Branch Hill Guinea Road. So that's just inside the 275 loop to Branch Hill Guinea Road. In Miami Township for the proposal dated August 15th, 2023 for a total amount not to exceed $136,786 with said services to be completed within 217 consecutive calendar days upon issuance of a written notice to proceed from the Water Resources Department, exclusive of county review time and contingent upon the release of the necessary purchase order. And this will replace about 5,900 feet of 10-inch water main that was installed in 1959 with 12-inch water main.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 19. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. One more.
Item 20 is a recommendation to award the bid for the furnishing and delivery of chemicals for the Clermont County Waterworks System pursuant to the specifications to the following vendors as the lowest and best bids received on October 12th, 2023, for total estimated annual amount of $886,990.20, and to execute the contracts relative thereto effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, pursuant to in compliance with the terms and conditions and the award of bids therefore, and contingent upon the release of the adoption of the annual appropriations for 2024 and the issuance of the required purchase orders.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 20. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you.
21. Good morning.
Morning. Bill Dehas, Chief Executive Officer of Clermont Senior Services. Item 21 is the recommendation to execute the extension of contract services with Clermont Senior Services, 2085 James Esau Senior Drive, Batavia, Ohio, 45103, for the continuation of provision of services or facilities to the senior citizens of Clermont County, as those persons are defined in the Older Americans Act of 1965 during calendar year 2024, in conjunction with a 1.3 mil tax levied upon the real property of the county of Clermont County, Ohio, and pursuant to Section 1 of the Contract for Senior Services previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on November 3rd, 2021, and in accordance with the letter of intent executed by Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board of County Commissioners, on October 18th, 2023, with all of other terms and conditions in the contract to remain in full force and effect and contingent upon the adoption of the annual appropriations for fiscal year 2024 and the issuance of the required purchase order.
Thank you, Bill. Board, we've had the reading of item number 21. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you. 22. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good.
This is a recommendation to adopt a revised table of organization for the Information Systems Department as outlined herein in Exhibit A, attached thereto and made a part thereof effective December 4th, 2023, and further to authorize the update of the appropriate internet links and dependencies accordingly. We'd like to take a Systems Analyst 3, pay range D, and reclassify it to a Systems Analyst Supervisor, also pay range D. And then the second change would be a Systems Coordinator, pay range A, being removed from our TO.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 22. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Are you back, Emily?
I'll be much quicker this time. So I have a recommendation to resolve to approve and authorize changes in the annual appropriation resolution number 182-22 for calendar year 2023, which this is 2 supplemental appropriations. The first one is Board of Elections overtime, which is had to do with the November election, and that's $12,000. And then the adult detention corrections to other expenses for $85,000, and that was for the cost pool overage.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 23. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran. Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thanks, Emily. At this time, item H, do we have any additions?
No additions at this time.
Okay, item I. Is this good as written, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, we need to go into executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1 and G3 of the Ohio Revised Code to 1, consider the employment or compensation of a public employee or more public employees, and 2, to confer with the prosecuting attorney concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, we shall return. Thank you. We have returned from executive session. No decisions or actions were taken. Let me read one more time why we went in. It was pursuant to Section 121.22 G1 and G3 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment or compensation of a public employee or more public employees, and 2, to confer with the prosecuting attorney concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action. At this time, I would like to call for a 15-minute recess, please.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, Gail?
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. And that would put us at 1:45. We will return. Thank you. So we have returned from our recess, and at this time, we'll move on to item J, county staff elected official discussion. Mr. Bickford?
Good afternoon, Board. This just kind of came to our attention literally today. As you're aware, there's the Ohio River Valley Water Sanitation Commission, and then the Ohio River Way, which is a nonprofit. They're dedicated to keeping the Ohio River clean. Part of the Appalachian grant funds, these two groups are applying for a joint grant that will install water quality monitoring equipment and various appurtenances in the Ohio River just to check the water quality. Has nothing to do with us, but they are asking us as a county to support their application via a letter. I've got economic development drafting a letter. If the board so chooses, this doesn't affect us in any way. It doesn't affect our water intake. We don't have any Ohio River water. So from a water resources standpoint, this is not going to affect us. This is just to help this particular group monitor the river. We are constructing a letter right now of support, just supporting this particular application with the governor. This has no bearing on our Appalachian funds, but this is something totally separate. What I would like to, if the board is so inclined, just to authorize President Batchelor to sign just a letter of support of his application, if that's okay with the board. We're still working on this letter. It's not going to be ready until probably tomorrow. However, it's due Friday. So this literally came to us 8 o'clock this morning. So if it's something the board's so in tune to support, we can certainly finish that.
I think we should.
Absolutely. I move that we support a letter for the Ohio River Valley Association and the joint grant application for supporting water quality through Ohio Riverway.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Thank you, Greg.
We'll have that prepared for signature tomorrow. But at least you've authorized it, so we'll take it from there.
Okay. So we'll move on then to item K, member comments. Anything? No?
Is that here? It's cold.
It is cold, just so everyone knows. We came in with no heat this morning. So it's a little chilly in here. So we're waiting on something from prosecutor's office.
We want to consider another recess.
We could do that.
How about if we take another 10-minute recess till 1 o'clock then?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. So we have now returned from our second intermission. We are not going to have any more. Okay, at this time, we do have an add-on. I need a motion to do an add-on. Resolution number 171-23 to the agenda.
I'll make a motion to add on the resolution number 171-23 for review.
Second.
Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Board, you have a resolution in front of you, Resolution 171-23. It's a resolution denying the annexation of 175.7701 acres of land owned by the MLO Investments LLC, BRMI Properties LLC, and the Crossing Church to the Village of Batavia in Clermont County, Ohio.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Okay. Is there anything else to come before the board? I would accept the motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
I will second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. We will see. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Our next meeting is Monday, correct?
Yes, it is.
You have heat down there?